Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing another traditional draft of the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Without further ado, let's just get into the pack one, pick one. We've got a sweet, colorless mythic rare here that leaves us wide open to whatever colors we get pushed into, so we'll probably roll with this. Chamil, the Inner Sun, is a 6-mana legendary artifact. At the beginning of our end step, we get to discover 5. The spells being uncounterable part doesn't really do anything, but discovering 5 every turn is at minimum like drawing an extra card every turn, plus any time that it's a spell that it's reasonable to cast, like anything that isn't a combat trick or a counter spell or something, we get to just full-on cast that spell, get a pretty good mana discount as well. So I think Chamil's a great card, especially in best 2 out of 3, where things can slow down a little bit, get into a little bit more of some grindy games. We'll take Chamil here. If it weren't in the pack, there's some great 1-drops like Miner's Guide Wing and Cogwork Wrestler. Also, the board wipe Malicious Eclipse if we want to play a more defensive black deck, but I'm pretty happy to start with Chamil, the Inner Sun. For pack 1, pick 2, we have a Careening Minecart, which is a relatively open pick. We do want to be a deck that has a good amount of cheap creatures to crew it quickly, but it is a colorless spell to fit in almost any deck. It's also a spring-loaded Sawblades, though, which I think is the strongest card in the pack by a pretty good margin. 2 mana instant speed removal that also turns into a vehicle later for a good 2-for-1 spell. Just a pretty great card. There's no like premium commons here, although Armored Kincaller and Poison Dart Frog are some of Green's best. They're not super incredible in the grand scheme of things, as Green is one of the weaker colors, but I think they are better than pretty much everything else in the pack, outside of the Sawblades and the Minecart, really. So we'll go for the Sawblades here. Pick number 3. We've got Restless Ridgeline for red-green mana fixing, as well as a nice beat stick. When we're flooding out, we can just activate this land and start attacking with it. Be a pretty good reason to push towards red-green, maybe. If I really want to stick to my spring-loaded Sawblades and still be a 2-color deck that features white, we could take one of the mono-colored spells, the most powerful of which is probably just the Malamet Battleglyph here. Decently efficient little fight spell. For 1 mana, you can put a +1/+1 counter on one of your creatures and have it fight something as long as that creature entered the battlefield this turn. So, can be pretty good when you cast something the turn you play it. I think I still just go for the Ridgeline here, even if it is multicolored and a little speculative. I think it's the strongest potential card. Pick 4, we've now got a Braid for very efficient removal. Very good in a format that has a bunch of pretty large artifacts, potentially. All the craft with artifact cards that flip into a giant artifact late game are super weak to a Braid. Plus, there's plenty of great cheap creatures that this can kill with just the 3 damage, so big fan of a Braid, and that goes with our Restless Ridgeline towards green-red, so I think I'll take that. As for the competition here, it's mainly like Pathfinding Axe Draw, decent value play. Brackish Blunder's okay interaction, but I'd always take a Braid over that when I haven't narrowed down my colors yet. There's like Akawali, which is a fine uncommon, but very narrow. Pick number 5, we've got a Goblin Tomb Raider, which is a pretty great red common. The problem is it's good in almost every red deck. Red-green is the weakest red deck for it, though, because you want to have a really high artifact count, and green is the least artifacty color in the set and just in general. We could take Scampering Surveyor. It does fit into anything as a ramp spell, and if you have a decent cave or 2, then it's a ramp spell that helps even when you don't need mana ramp, because then you can pull out a cave, and even if you didn't need that extra mana, it gives you another bit of discover to try to draw another card later. So I like that. Visage of Dread for a discard spell is pretty great as well. I think it's Tomb Raider, Surveyor, or Visage. I'm going to stay pretty open here, though, and take the Surveyor. Pack 1, pick number 6. There's a Hidden Nursery to go with our Surveyor. It's nothing really powerful here. Out of the commons or uncommons, so I think I can go for that. Make sure that I have at least 1 cave to go with this if we end up in green. Yeah, I don't like the Hotfoot Gnome. There's plenty of 1/1s in this format. Both playable 1-mana 1/1s that are just actual creatures, and also creature tokens like 1/1 gnomes and stuff, so the gnome plays real badly, unless you really want to give things haste. And Glimpse the Core, just no good like dedicated ramp deck that wants cards where the only thing it does is put a land into play, when you can get cards like Scampering Surveyor that are a creature and put a land into play, or cards like the Frog that's a creature and mana ramp. Pick 7 here, we've got a Watley's Final Strike for some more interaction. We've got Gold Fury Striders, kind of a filler top-end card. Prefer to have better finishers than that. I do like the Volatile Wanderglyph a lot at 2 mana. Probably take this here. I think it's one of the better 2-drops. You get it down early and it just makes sure that your draws are a little bit smoother than usual, discarding lands you don't need, or discarding some expensive spells when you're looking for lands still. So I think it's a nice flexible card. Twists and Turns is okay as well. It's pretty similar to Chameel, where it's not going to do anything till the very late game, but in the very late game, it is going to win any top deck war. It turns into a nice little card advantage machine. But since we already have the Chameel, I don't really see the need to get a Twists and Turns in here as well. Basically like a 7 mana card. You have to wait till you have 7 lands for it to really pop off. Pick 8, I'm just going to take a Staggering Size here. If we end up in green, it's a pretty great combat trick. Could also take Compass Gnome. Puts whatever basic or whatever cave we need on top of our deck if we do go like 3 color or something. I think I'd rather still take Staggering Size though. I do enjoy that combat trick in this format. Pick 9 Wanderglyph, love that out of red here. Maybe we can get the little Goblin Pirate back. Even if we end up in red-green, now we have like 4 artifacts already. 2 Wanderglyphs, a Scampering Surveyor, and a Chameel. Yep, best cards here are easily Wanderglyph and Eclipse, although Mineshaft Spider is good in specifically green-black, where there's a lot of graveyard recursion, where that self-mill can be valuable. Pretty narrow card, though. That's basically the only deck I would play the Spider in, but it's a fine card in that deck. Could take Hidden Nursery, could also take Forgotten Monument if we want a chance at doing the really crazy, like, full 5-color cave thing. You know, we've already got the 1 Hidden Nursery. I'm going to speculate. Maybe we do get to go full caves here if nobody else cares about them. And yeah, here's a speculative Compass Gnome for that deck as well. Brackish Blunder's the best piece interaction in that pack. Now we'll get a blue cave for if we do go some kind of 5-color cave thing. We have to find some kind of reason to do it. Like, we need one of the big cave payoffs, like the cave board wipe or something like that. But we've got the cave fixing right now, with a Scampering Surveyor and a Forgotten Monument being ways to get any color mana off our caves. What do we have here for pack 2, pick 1? I do think I'm more red than anything else by a lot, because I've got 3 really good red cards. Out of green, I really just have the Ridgeline and a Staggering Size. Like, sure, there's a Hidden Nursery too, but it's not much. So do I just take Atali's Favor because, like, we know we're in red, but we are less committed to green? Or do I just take Bronodon and try to just commit to green-red dinos here? I feel like I just take Atali's Favor. It's like a little weaker than Brontodon, but it's a pretty great spell. That Discover 3 makes this usually like +1/+1 trample and slam down another 2-drop creature or something. Makes it really efficient for the cost. Best spell in the pack is Master's Guide Mural, but don't think I want to try to full-on pivot over to blue-white at this point. Okay, pack 2, pick 2. Again, 4 red spells. We do already have 1 Brackish Blunder, which is a perfectly playable blue spell. So if we want to just take the strongest card in the pack, we can, which is a Waterwind Scout towards blue-red artifacts. Yeah, 3 mana 2/2 flyer that comes with a map token's a great deal. It's an evasive threat that gives you some card draw or lets you set up your draws with the surveillability of the map token. Yeah, that's my favorite card in this pack by a lot. I'll grab a Waterwind Scout. Pack 2, pick 3, there's a Zoetic Glyph, one of the mythic uncommons in the format. You can slap this onto a map token, and now you have a 5/4 beat stick that discovers a spell when it dies. Incredible card. We can take that, and that's a great follow-up to the Waterwind Scout. There's also plenty of good red here with Idol, Plundering Pirate, Sunfire Torch, and Sunshot Militia, all being great cards. We'd be happy to take pretty much any of these pick 3, way happier if any of these wheel, then I'll be just really ecstatic, honestly. Pick number 4, we now have Waylaying Pirates, which is a good creature type for blue-red. And we will definitely have the artifact count to stun things when it hits the board. I think Waylaying Pirates looks pretty good here, but Careening Minecart's also good in the blue-red deck. Clayfire Bricks is another incredible artifact to craft alongside the Spring-Loaded Saw Blades. We are 3 cards deep into blue, 4 cards deep into red, just 1 card deep into white. So I think it's Minecart or Pirates. I think I'm not going speculative towards bricks here. So Minecart, Pirates, Minecart or Pirates. Don't have a lot of great creatures to crew the Minecart yet, but I feel like I should be able to find them. I'm going to go for the Minecart. It's a little more open. Pick number 5. Now there's an Oaken Siren nice and late. Super good card in basically any blue deck because all of the good blue decks are playing a good amount of artifacts. This deck is looking no different with a Minecart, a Surveyor, a Chameel. Of course, any map tokens are artifact abilities, so the Oaken Siren can help tap for your map tokens as well. Just a wonderful card, and I'm happy to see it here, pick 5. And there you go, pick 6, Captain Storm, and we get wildly rewarded for staying open with one of the strongest build around uncommons in the entire set. Probably the number 1. This is kind of like the mythic uncommon of all the 2-color signpost uncommons. And there's also a pick 6 Waterwind Scout in the same pack, which is pretty crazy. Saheeli, it's always sad to see like 2 very similar cards in terms of like mana cost, stat lines, but the uncommon is just so much stronger than the mythic for just the speed at which it comes out and impacts the board. So that's sad to see the blue-red mythic in the same pack, but wow, are we in a fantastic draft pod to have pivoted onto blue-red, and I'm feeling really good about my choice earlier to pick up that Waterwind Scout and start heading in this direction because it is really paying off. So pick 7, we've got Inverted Iceberg for more top end or another Oaken Siren for more cheap stuff. I really like Oaken Sirens with Captain Storm because you can play the Oaken Siren after Captain Storm's on the board and it's immediately a 2/3 Flying Vigilance. Both these cards are great, but I will take the Siren over the Iceberg. And now pick 8, Lodestone Needle. Phenomenal card for decks that have multiple little flyers like the Oaken Sirens and the Waterwind Scout, because you get a little bit of value stunning something when you play this, but the really nice part is once you craft this, you get to start exploring onto one of your flyers every turn, trying to get some +1/+1 counters on them. So excellent card at beefing up those flyers. Pirate Hat is like the poor man's version of the Lodestone Needle. I don't think it'll make the cut here, but it's more likely than Relic's Roar, so I'll take that. Pick 10, grab a Hidden Volcano. Waterlogged Hulk would not be terrible, because even if you don't have 8 permanents in your grave after you craft this, you do get a 4/4 that crews for only 1, so I guess we could take that. I think I'm just going to grab another cave, though. I have a couple random cave support cards, like Scampering Surveyor and Compass Gnome. If we don't manage to get just 23 like blue-red artifact playables, we can have a little tiny cave sub-theme. Sunfire Torch is a fantastic card for any artifact deck in the format, because again, the craft with artifact ability wants you to be exiling artifacts out of your grave, and this is one that you get to use as removal and have it sitting in your grave later to craft with. Grab the Pirate here for our blue-red artifact pirate stack. Grab the Pirate again, the Waylaying Pirates being the much better one than the Shipwreck Sentry, because it's a lot more consistent. And I look like I've got a really good amount of 2-drops here over 4-drops. So mana curve reasons as well. It's looking great to pick up the 4-drop. And let's see what we open up in pack number 3. All right, pack 1, pick 1. Rewarded again, this time just pure luck here. That we just open a rare on color that's also a pirate. We'll definitely take Malcolm. Instant speed flyer, draws and discards a card every time it hits our opponent. And it's a pirate to throw counters on if we get Captain Storm. Fantastic card, great way to start this pack off. We should be able to wheel a Waylaying Pirates or a Sunfire Torch. I don't think I'll get Iceberg back, but if I do, I'll take that over these two, because we are looking for a little more like high-end stuff, a little more top-end to wrap this deck up. Pack 3, pick 2. There is a Hermetic Nautilus just to up the artifact count. There's also Tishana's Tideminder, which is a really good sideboard card, if nothing else, because it's quite good against craft with artifact cards. Because your opponent plays them, almost all of them have a good enter the battlefield effect, so you counter the enter the battlefield effect and stop your opponent from flipping it. It's also good against just a lot of cards in general. Your opponent plays a Waterwind Scout, you play this, counter their map token, and make the Waterwind Scout a 2/2 on the ground, as long as this is around. So I'll go for the Tidebinder over the Nautilus here. If nothing else, it'll be a pretty great card to have in the sideboard, but I think I am going to main deck it and see if we run up against enough stuff it actually interacts with. Take a Hidden Volcano here. Could grab an Out of Air for the sideboard, I guess. I don't foresee myself really siding that in ever. Trying to see how our mana curve's looking and everything, how our creature count's looking. This looks pretty good to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I guess that's only like 12 creatures. Maybe we do need some random top end like Council of Echoes. But still go with the Hidden Volcano there. I think we're really looking for more synergistic creatures than just a really expensive flyer. And here we find them. It is a hard choice, though, because they're both great synergistic one-drop creatures. We could take another Waylaying Pirates, but Cogwork Wrestler for an instant speed artifact is great. The combat trick aspect of it being great, so you can get a combat trick out of this and craft it later. We're not actually crafting too much. We just have the one Lodestone Needle right now. But this is a really busted card with Captain Storm. Although so is Goblin Tomb Raider. Really quick, really aggressive pirate there. 1 mana 2/2 haste if we've got an artifact alongside it. I'm going to go for the Wrestler, get more artifacts for Zoetic Glyph, get more artifacts for Captain Storm, and being instant speed is really valuable. Magical Christmas Land Draft Pod here. Magical Christmas Land Draft Pod. It is time for a call. First among equals now. Every time that we play an artifact, we get to draw our choice of card out of the top 2. We put one into our hand and one into our graveyard. Incredible card draw engine that takes over the game. Sad to see it in the same pack as an Oaken Siren, because I'd like that card as well, and there's no way it'll come back. But I am happy to get an Akalpakal regardless. Sage of Days, Out of Air, and Child of the Volcano are all really bad filler. Saheeli's Lattice can be a mediocre card draw spell that happens to be an artifact hitting the battlefield, so it's borderline playable filler. Where it gets actually good is in any dinosaur deck, because then it's a card draw spell slapped onto a beefy body in the late game, but we're not a dinosaur deck. We have 0 dinos, so it'll probably still get cut, but it's still the best card out of that pack. Pack 3, pick 7 is all unplayable. There's a Cave Worm, a Hotfoot Gnome, a Blowgun, and a Promising Vein. Out of all these, I think Hotfoot Gnome is the closest to what this deck is doing, but its stat line is just quite bad for its mana cost. Pack 3, pick 8, we get a second Cogwork Wrestler or a first Idol of the Deep King. When we're looking at our interaction, we have Blunder, Torch, and a Braid. Might want a little bit more, but I also have some Stunning with Waylaying Pirates. Moderately tempted to take the Idol there, but maybe I'm just way too high on Cogwork Wrestler, but I'm just going to grab another one there. I just love that instant speed Captain Storm trigger for only 1 mana. It's like super gross. We did get the Inverted Iceberg back, which looks great here. We're definitely looking for a 6-drop creature. And that is going to be that. That'll be our top end there. Here we get a much more mediocre 6-drop creature with the Council of Echoes. But we're not going to play a Wanderglyph or a Reminiscence, so we'll grab that. It probably stays in the sideboard for the most part. Now there's a Blowgun or an Out of Air. Just grab Out of Air. I mean, either one we take is likely going to the sideboard. Maybe I should have taken the Blowgun. If I had remembered how many Blowguns and Out of Airs there were, I'd probably want to end up in a position where I have like 1 of each here, rather than 2 of one, just for a little bit more options. Wow, pick 13 Oaken Siren? I'm not on planet Earth right now. I really am in Magical Christmas Land. I'm not going to put a 3rd Out of Air in the sideboard. I can't imagine a matchup where I'd want to sideboard in 3 copies of Out of Air. So we'll grab a Sage of Days. Again, I can't really imagine off the top of my head a matchup where I want to sideboard in Sage of Days, but it's probably more likely than a matchup where I want to sideboard in 3 copies of Out of Air instead of just like 2. So we've got 48 cards here, and they are incredible cards. Well, not all 48. We've definitely got filler to cut out of here, and that's what I'm going to focus on here. We've got enough good just blue-red artifact creatures and pirate nonsense in general to be fully focused up on the blue-red artifact game plan with cards like Captain Storm, cards like a Call here, really wanting a super high artifact count, not so much caring about the little random cave synergies or dino synergies we have going. So might drop Lattice, might drop Compass Gnome. I've certainly got enough 2-drops here to drop the Compass Gnome. This is 7 2-mana creatures and 2 1-mana creatures, none of which are going to get cut. We've got the very premium Sunfire Torch and a Braid for interaction. Blunder and Lodestone Needle are still great interaction as well. I think we can definitely drop the Pirate Hat as the most mediocre 2-mana or less non-creature card. At 3 mana, we have the Akalpakal, the Tidebinder's pretty fun, even if it is kind of narrow. The Waterwind Scout's just great in this deck, and the Hotfoot Gnome is narrow and also not as fun. So I'll drop that. 4 mana and higher, we keep the Pirates. Surveyor's a borderline cut, though, because we're not ramping too much. And then finally, we drop the Council of Echoes at 6 mana. We don't want that much top end. We're relatively aggressive in basically any red deck in the format, but definitely a blue-red deck. Keep that curve kind of low here. So, 3 mana and greater non-creature spells. We have Zoetic Glyph, which is basically another 3-drop creature. That stays in. Tali's Favor stays in. It's some more beef. It discovers any of our 3 or less mana cards. I think basically all these cards would be a great card to hit off of a Tali's Favor, so that looks good. And then Minecart, while it is potentially not going to do a massive amount in the games where we have Captain Storm on board, that is a ridiculous combo. Spitting out a treasure every turn, getting another +1/+1 counter. So it's super fun in those instances. And even when we don't have Captain Storm, it will ramp into our 6-drops or just leave some treasures behind for future turns, for future uses. So definitely cut the 2 out of airs, though. Really inefficient counter spells. So, is this 8 cards to cut? Because I think these are all my least favorites. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's exactly 8 cards to cut. We are pretty low curve, pretty aggressive here. We've got a really good stack of 2-drops, a hefty amount of 3-drops as well. I think we're low enough on curve. I don't want a million tap lands, but I think still running like 2 in the deck is still fine, because I feel like it wouldn't be that hard to find positions where we have where we can play off curve really easily. Like turn 1, we're not always going to have a Wrestler or a Torch, so if we have one of the caves in our opening hand, there's not a huge cost to just playing it turn 1. And then turn 3, there's going to be a lot of games where we just play a 2-drop creature on turn 2 and a 2-drop creature on turn 3. So that would be another turn to play a tap land. So I'm going to keep the 2 caves in here. Don't know if that's correct, but I don't know. There are going to be games where we're punished for having a tap land in hand, but there's also going to be games where we're rewarded for preventing mana flood by having these in the deck. It's really just pretty even stuff there. And we've got a couple really good 6-drops between the Titan and the Chameel, so I think 17 lands is fine when 2 of them can prevent mana flood. 2 of them can be cracked to get a spell, and we've got some really good 6-drops to get to as well. So keep 17 lands, we'll run all of these cards and call it a deck here. Alright, here's a look at the final deck list for today. We ended up in a really powerful blue-red deck. We stayed pretty open throughout Pack 1, pushed into blue-red in Pack 2 when it seemed open, and got past all kinds of goodies. We've got Chameel the Inner Sun, which was our Pack 1 pick one. Great card advantage engine during any long game. Should be able to win pretty much any board stalls we end up in. We've got another fantastic card draw engine with a Call every time we're playing an artifact. We're drawing some cards off of this. We have card selection with Malcolm, drawing and discarding cards every turn that we're hitting them with Malcolm. And we've got a ton of just blue-red artifact synergies. Tons of artifacts on color with Cogwork Wrestlers, Oaken Sirens, and etc. and Captain Storm to put +1/+1 counters on the board when we are playing all of those artifacts. So really a bit of everything you want to be doing in blue-red. We've got some bombs, we've got some card draw, we've got artifact synergies, we've got a little bit of interaction with Sunfire Torch and Abrade to kill small creatures, some stunning with some Waylaying Pirates, and Lodestone Needles to slow down the bigger ones, and one little bounce spell here with Brackish Blunder against something super big. So yeah, looks like a pretty nice, pretty flexible blue-red deck, pretty powerful one overall, but we'll see how it all plays out for us as we head into the gameplay. Here we are for game one with a forced mulligan to start off. Into a forced mulligan, I guess we are starting with a 5-card hand for round one. Alright, it's the best hand we have drawn so far. Need to get rid of some amount of 3-mana plays here. Probably glyph up the torch, I guess. I don't know how helpful Blunder is going to be. I mean, if they're aggressive and we get to bounce one of their creatures and then we get to glyph up a map token, that'll be better, but I could also see if I can get the scout out to glyph up a map token. Yeah, I think I'll do this kind of order. Yeah, certainly not happy with starting like this, but at least we are on the draw. And there we go, we do immediately hit land 3, so we can now go scout into glyph, which is ideal. The Dowsing Device turn 2 from our opponent, which is going to buff the Tomb Raider by being an artifact and give it +1/+0 since they played an artifact, and we are drawing fantastically. We've got the third land at the ready, and we drew a 2-drop to play on turn 2. Very happy to see that. Opponent passes turn. Let's drop Malcolm. They might have removal here. At instant speed, looks like a no. We've got a Cogwork Wrestler. It's an interesting option. I think I hit them with Malcolm before I do anything else. I don't think I'm throwing Torch at the Tomb Raider quite yet, because I'd rather drop the Waterwind Scout here. Ditch the Oaken Siren. I guess I could play Oaken Siren plus Cogwork Wrestler, which is kind of spicy if I ditch the Scout. Be a little suspicious, but then I can glyph up an Oaken Siren, which is wild. Yeah, this is going to be kind of suspicious, but here we go. Like, this way I can glyph up the Oaken Siren, and if our opponent still doesn't have interaction, then we can just kill their Goblin Tomb Raider for free. And they're tapped out, so now we are definitely going to kill their Tomb Raider for free. We are taking a big hit from that Dynatomaton, though. Ooh, Captain Storm. Tempting card. Tempting card. We gotta just be on Glyph, though, right? And hold up a double block for Dynatomaton, because we're down to 10. So just don't poke for 1, hit for 7 here, draw and discard. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, +7. I could hit for 11 and leave not enough blockers, because I have to... Siren's Vigilance, so I can attack with that and still have it as a blocker, but I need to hold something else up to block a Menace. I think I do this. Okay, discard another Oaken Siren, keep the Captain Storm. Mm. 10 life. I'm really scared. They can, basically any creature they play, they can give it haste with this Dowsing Device, so I'm just going to really make sure we don't randomly die to that. Okay. That makes me really happy about blocking then. Like, I'm basically just chump blocking a Dynatomaton now. But now we know that our 5/4 Zoetic Glyph card was going to die anyway, so might as well actually get a block off of it. Now I can Captain Storm into Lodestone Needle, which is beautiful. Needle down their biggest attacker next turn. Off of the Oaken Siren for the mana. So wait till they move to combat in case they haste out a bigger creature. Okay, so that's a 4/3 haste. They can make it a... No, they can't buff it. Let's Lock down Dynatomaton? Lock down the Menace card, I think. Buff up Captain Storm, threatening to trade here. They're at 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I just killed them on the crackback if I let this in. Alright, so let's do that. Sunfire Torch onto Siren. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage exactly. Okay, alright. I mean, rough mulligans to start. Down to 5 cards to start the game, but incredible draws after that. Actually incredible draws. I mean, our deck has a lot of high quality cards, but still, even with the quality of the average card in our deck, those draws were absurd. So that helped a whole ton, and we win the Mold to 5 to start things off. Very happy with the core deck that we have here. We're playing against a red-white deck, which can be pretty artifact-focused, with a lot of tap effects like Gem Guard. So Dowsing Device showing that they have a lot of artifacts in deck, Gem Guard showing that they might have some token production to tap creatures for good effects. Yeah, just looks like red-white artifact aggro in general. Nothing in our sideboard I think is better than our main deck against this. Our sideboard is mostly like some slow stuff for really slow grindy decks that are trying to outgrind us. We don't have anything for like other aggro decks trying to get below them or anything. Yeah, we will run it back. Oh my god, the 4 rare opening hand. Okay. I guess I'll keep. I guess I'll just start with 4 rares in hand. Volatile Wanderglyph, you're not a rare, so I'm not gonna cast you. That's not true. I'll cast that on turn 4 after I have an Akalpakal on board. And I can draw more cards off of that. Let's draw and discard before we do anything else. Another Wanderglyph. Great with Akalpakal. I want to keep all these lands. I want Shamil. Maybe ditch the Pirates or the Tidebinder. I'll ditch the Pirates here. Just because I'm a greedy man that wants to keep all the gold symbols in his hand. Okay. So play 1 Wanderglyph here. I'm not going to attack with a Akalpakal in case they have the white removal spells that hit a tapped creature. I mean, they have to be a 1-mana spell. I don't think there's one in this format, but it's better safe than sorry. Because they could top deck the thing that deals 5 to a tapped creature. And then play it during their main phase on our tapped Akalpakal, right? The Saw Blades card. And that would be bad for us. So we'll still play around Saw Blades by not attacking with Akalpakal. Alright, Brazen Blade Master, just a 2/3, really doesn't do much. Now I get to play another Wanderglyph to trigger Akalpakal and hold up the Tidebinder, which is beautiful. Might get to cast Shamil off of Malcolm for free. That would be really gross. I'm actually going to discard the Cataract. I want untapped sources here so I can cast a 2-mana spell and hold 3 up. And then I could have the option of casting Shamil even if Malcolm dies next turn. If Malcolm doesn't die, then Malcolm will cast Shamil for free. Wow, and our opponent's just stuck on mana here, has to plane cycle here. They do get to petrify Malcolm, so glad I kept the untapped mana. Although it might still be stronger to just go for damage here, like play Tidebinder. Yeah, you know what, actually, I'm just going to get full aggro and try to keep the pressure on my opponent while they're stumbling behind here. Rather than casting Shamil this turn, we can play Captain Storm into double artifact. Buff this Oaken Siren way up. Get damage in, draw a card off a Akalpakal still. They're down to 11. Grab a lodestone needle, which buffs thanks to Captain Storm and shuts off a blocker. Old Tech Cloud Guard. 3-2, get a 1-1 gnome, activate the treasure map again. Okay, there's an abrade. I can lock down both creatures 3 for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's well over lethal. We just kill both creatures here and win the game. Yeah, there's the concession from our opponent. They stuck it out, honestly. You know, props to them for sticking it out that long. That was like ridiculous. The 5 rare hand here. Really gross. Really, really gross. Just the deck firing at all cylinders with incredible draws. And our opponent had rough mana draws in both games. They hit a bunch of red sources, couldn't find their white sources till later in both of the games. Really not a great time for our opponent, but an explosive time for our deck. It's going to be 1-0 as we head into round 2. Here we are for round number 2. Perfectly reasonable hand here. We will keep that. Spyglass Siren, turn 1 from our opponent. Well, that is not a beautiful card to see. Pretty aggressive start. Get that flyer right onto the board with a map token to maybe buff it up. There's a Sunscribe to go with it. Uh-oh. I think... This is awkward, but I think I am going to Wrestler just to stop some damage here so that I have something to crew the minecart. Right, then I've got a 2-2 and a 3-3 basically on turn 3. Wrestler plus minecart is the 3-3 and Wanderglyph is the 2-2. Alright, Spyglass Siren sees an acrobatic leap. Really nice to have that revealed, so we know about that combat trick. We can hold up a Brackish Blunder against it. Uh-oh. Other combat trick in hand here? Well, show it. Show it to me. Nope. Actually just trade 2-2s. Ruin Lurker Bats. They get to scry 1. Keep the acrobatic leap. Keep that in mind. They have +1/+3, untap a creature at instant speed in their hand. They're blue-white, so they're not going to have haste, so we will send in the Wrestler. Because I'm not going to be blocking with minecart, because it's just flyers over there. So let's cast the minecart then, after poking them for 1. And then turn 4, we get to cast an Iceberg and hold up the Brackish Blunder to bounce whatever they use Acrobatic Leap on. Okay, so they're probably going to Acrobatic Leap to try to kill the minecart, and we just completely ruin that. Putting the Siren back in their hand, getting a map token of our own. Yeah, they're going to get a map token when they recast the Siren, but that's going to remove the +1/+1 counter from the Siren. It's going to unequip the Pirate's Hat. It's going to tax them a decent amount of mana. So I think it is going to be the play here. Although I'm not going to commit to anything until after I attack with the minecart, just in case they don't Acrobatic Leap. Because if they don't Acrobatic Leap, then I'd rather just Waterwind Scout. Okay, there's the leap, so we blunder. Get our map token, poke for 3, get our treasure. That leads into a Chameel next turn if I keep it around. If I cash it in, though, I get a Waterwind Scout, and they have to equip the bat to attack in with it. It's kind of tempting. I guess I should cash it in, get the flyer here. If I top deck a land, I could still Chameel next turn. Thousand Moon Smithy, that's pretty nasty. They get a creature with power toughness equal to the number of artifacts and creatures they control. And if they have 5 artifacts and creatures on their board during their upkeep, they get to flip this, and every time they cast a creature or artifact, they get another one of those gigantic gnome soldiers. So that can be an absolute game ender. It's going to be a big problem for me. So I feel like with Thousand Moon Smithy on the board, where they really want to get to 5 permanents, they shouldn't declare a block here. They should play around a trick from me. So I think my opponent plays defensively with that Thousand Moon Smithy. This minecart should be able to get in without getting blocked by the 4/4. Beautiful. I had no tricks, so if they did block, it was going to be nasty for me, but this way, we get to cast Shamil and hopefully discover a blocker and go crazy from here. Well, might still discover a blocker. We'll see. Discover and to discover. Cogwork Wrestler is a blocker, but it's just a chump blocker. Rather have that as a trick in my hand than a 1-2 on board right now. Sure, I'm gonna put it in my hand. Alright, a Rozka Puzzle Door for a little bit of card draw, and a Spyglass Siren, so they have infinite permanence there. The Thousand Moon Smithy's definitely gonna flip. And they're gonna have tons of gigantic gnomes on the ground. No attack with the 8/8 here. That's incredibly surprising. I guess play it real defensively here. They know we can't attack on the ground at all as long as they have that 8/8 up. So we are all in on attacking in the sky. Let's see what Iceberg finds us. Captain Storm. Yeah. I'm probably just chump attacking with minecart at this point if I send it in. But I would like the treasure to be able to cast the Cogwork Wrestler. Maybe I am doing that. Yeah, there's like no combat trick in the book that's going to kill this gnome soldier, and our opponent would know that, so I guess we probably shouldn't attack with minecart. This Thousand Moon Smithy, the Barracks of the Thousand can really take things over. Any artifacts and creatures they draw into now come with like a 9/9 or a 10/10 attached, so surprisingly we could be outbombed here. Even with a Shamil active on our board. We'll see. So they can crack the puzzle door to draw into a creature or an artifact for next turn. Probably hold on to it till the barracks is untapped. Yep, one card in hand. Equip the Sunscribe with the pirate hat. I'll trade my minecart into this if they do that, because minecart's not going to be able to get in. Just period. Okay, they don't attack. Alright, scry to the bottom, and it is our turn. Waylaying Pirates. Great draw. Wow, is that a good draw. Stun the 7/7. Crew the minecart. Send in with everything that's a 3/3 or better. And then just Cogwork Wrestler if they go for a block. And then I still have a chump blocker up. Plus, that thing's not going to untap anyway, so I don't even need a chump blocker up. Aw, you know what? I should have equipped the torch, because I am going to get a treasure token here. So equipping the torch would probably find lethal. Yeah, would have found... Well, no, it wouldn't. It'd be 8 damage out of 10. I could Wrestler. There's no need to, though, because this is already going to win. They're down to 4. I will hold up Wrestler on blocks to be safe. Okay, they're gonna concede because I'm thinking here. I'm stressed. I'm trying to. I'm like, should I equip Torch and just hold up Wrestler off the treasure token? So I don't have to equip Torch next turn, just so I don't accidentally like forget or something. Yeah, maybe it's like put Torch on Pirates or something, and then hold up Wrestler off of the treasure. I don't know. Opponent concedes. They know what's coming up. They scried, I think. So they know they have no way out of that. That was just nuts from our deck again. Slightly outracing the Thousand Moon Smithy flip. Scary card for sure. Scary card for sure. Really happy to have a Braid here. We don't have other artifact interaction. If we did, I'd be real happy to put it in. Yeah, it's just card draw spell, haste creature. We do have a counter spell, but we'd have to hold 4 mana up, like right on time, which is not possible when they're on the play. Right? If they go for a turn 4 Thousand Moon Smithy, I can't counter it because I only have 3 mana for the 4 mana counter spell in my hand. Yeah, don't think we really have much of a sideboard here again. I think our best cards are all in the deck, and we'll keep it that way. Let's head into game 2 of round number 2. Reasonable hand here, not incredible, but definitely a keep. Let's get the torch out of the way. I can Hidden Volcano turn 3 easily. Okay. Shipwreck Sentry is the start. As long as they keep playing artifacts, they can beat me down for 3, otherwise it just sits there. Okay, I do actually kind of want to play an untapped land turn 3 still, so I can equip the torch and still hold up a Braid. Main phase Cogwork Wrestler to be able to attack with the Sentry. Fair enough. We're down to 17. Pakal. Well, we've changed minds here. I guess I don't have any more artifacts to play yet, so there's not a massive reason to just run it out. This is kind of weird, but I'm not going to do that yet. I'm just going to equip Torch and hold up a Braid. Because that's just going to mean a Pakal is on the board, vulnerable to removal, a little bit longer. Just for nothing, basically. And there's the Acrobatic Leap. Let's 2-for-1 them then. Kill the Sentry and the Acrobatic Leap with the Abrade. Poke for 2. I'm never going to trust that. Oh, it was Chart a Course. Nice. They got me. Even if we did block, it would have been in our opponent's favor regardless. Would have been right for them. I don't hate throwing my torch at the Sunscribe here. I think with nothing else to do, I am jamming out a Pakal at this point. I'm still not going to throw the torch, though, because we know they have the 3-2 flyer that makes a 1-1. If they play anything in the sky, we'd rather torch a 2-2 flyer or a 3-2 flyer or anything like that. Cycle a Runaway Boulder to draw a card. They've got 3 mana up. Careening Minecart is the play. Alright, well, we are definitely flooding this game, but a Pakal can get us out of that. We need one more turn to be able to trigger a Pakal potentially. Because we get to discover off the Hidden Volcano, and it might be an artifact or something that makes a map token or something, so. Definitely really happy to have a Hidden Volcano this game. Our opponent scries to the bottom, off of the Sunscribe. Sixth mana from our opponent, an Old Tech Archaeologist as it is, to pick up the Boulder to blow up a Pakal. Yep. Pretty fantastic. Please tell me we can draw just one artifact spell before they kill a Pakal at least. Be very happy with that. 2 mana combat trick to give +2/+2. There's probably one, but I can't think of it, so I'm just going to soak this damage up, assuming they just want the treasure. And that looks like the play. And we do draw the artifact for a Pakal. I'm going to go for the guaranteed artifact here, playing the Oaken Siren rather than gambling on the Hidden Volcano, even though it's more mana efficient to gamble on the Hidden Volcano. And I guess I could have been more mana efficient by tapping this Oaken Siren to cast that one. Probably should have done that. Waited till main phase 2 and then tapped this to play that. Would be the line. Alright, a Pakal, what do you draw us? Wanderglyph or Waylaying Pirates. I like both of these a good chunk. They're low enough on life. I think I'm going to go for Waylaying Pirates to get some stun. Stun a flyer. Keep hitting for 3 a turn to try to outrace them. Goodbye, Akalbakal. Yep, crew the minecart. Send in with the team. They are actually just outracing us on board already, so we might have to just stun the archaeologists. Alright, trade 1 siren into the minecart, or let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage. 7, 8, 9 go to 7. I'm at 7 life, then I stun an archaeologist and have a 3/3 blocker up. It's risky, but I'm gonna take it all for the outrace. Hit a Wanderglyph, great draw. Great draw, because now I get to hold up a 3/3 and a 2/2 blocker. Again, basically every turn this game, it has looked reasonable to kill the Sunscribe. They found the smithy. Uh-oh. Now they've got a 9/9 along with everybody else, but they're 3 hits from dead in the sky. They are 3 hits from dead in the sky, which is big. Archaeologists to pick up the minecart. Yep, that's the only artifact engraved there. Cogwork Wrestler, kind of a big deal, and I have the mana to do that even after using Hidden Volcano. I could tap all my lands and have the mana to do that thanks to Double Siren. So let's use the Volcano. I should have held the red up, but I kind of just let Auto Tapper do its thing. Lodestone Needle is a big hit. Stun their biggest creature to slow them down from killing us so fast. Am I chump attacking with Wanderglyph to ditch this island to draw a card? Feels unlikely to be correct. I have an artifact in my grave. I do have an artifact in my grave if I want to flip this. Tap like all my blockers. I think with a Cogwork Wrestler and a Wanderglyph on blocks, that should be enough to not die. Get a little greedy here. Do that. But I will hold up the other Siren as a blocker and a way to cast the Cogwork Wrestler, rather than using the Compass here. I don't think they can afford to tap 5 permanents right now. I guess they've got 2 non-creature permanents, which certainly helps. Yeah, they're going to do it. They're going for it. So they've got 1 blocker on the ground right now. There's a puzzle door. Crack the puzzle door. Still have 4 mana up to play the minecart, but that doesn't up the number of blockers they have. That's still just 1 blocker on the ground. See what they find off that puzzle door, though. It is going to be the minecart as the play. They've got a 1 mana spell. They could have the 1/1 Flying Lifelinker here, maybe. If the game's still holding. Oh, no, it's because they have a crew ability as well, potentially. So we don't know if they have anything actually here. So if I play the Wrestler, they block Wanderglyph, take 1, 2, 3, 4. If Guidestone Compass gets a +1/+1 counter, we kill them here. So I'm going to go for it. If they don't have the Acrobatic Leap in hand, and the Compass finds a counter, we kill them. Waylaying Pirates does not change the math at all, because if I use it to stun Archaeologists, they crew and still have 1 blocker anyway. So I just use the Compass and save Pirates for post-combat if they happen to not die. Oh. God. So they're not going to die. because they block Wanderglyph, take 1, 2, 3, sacking the torch makes it 4, 5. They go to 1. So I don't think I can afford to go for that. I think I just attack in the sky then, because I need blockers up here. And again, the Pirates isn't going to change the math on that, because they just... God, they do have double acrobatic leap. That's even worse, but so much better that I didn't send in the whole team. I already know what this card is, but I could use it for Wanderglyph on a future attack, so I'm just going to hold it. Waylaying Pirates of their own. Plus use the barracks for it. That's incredibly gross. Surprised they stun our pirates. Are they trying to find lethal here? Sort of looks like it. So we've got some outs. Zoetic Glyph would definitely kill them. I don't think we can afford to really play around some random combat trick here. Let's see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. I go to 1 if I block like this. Then I crack back for 5. No, I don't. They've got 11 to block the Wanderglyph. I probably have to chump with Wanderglyph. I guess at least I can trade that one off. Holding it off would mean another Waylaying Pirates would be a win condition, but I don't have another Waylaying Pirates left in the deck. A Brackish Blunder would turn into a win condition. Brackish blundering the Gnome Soldier and attacking with everybody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. This makes Brackish Blunder lethal off the top. If the last card in their hand is not another spell. And Brackish Blunder could be any of the top, what, 3 cards? Because I get to look for it with Guidestone Compass and draw a card with Wanderglyph towards it. Zoetic Glyph it is. I mean, I'll use Compass too. See if they do any interaction to that. Find Shamil on top. I'm going to mill that because it doesn't insta-kill them, and we're going for the insta-kill here. Zoetic Glyph the Siren. That's lethal in the sky. Attack both. And crack the torch. Okay. Playing it safe for if they have removal for the Oaken Siren, not really safe, but making it so even if they have removal for Oaken Siren here at instant speed, we have a chance of still killing them, where I sack the torch and shoot them for 2, so that'd be 5 damage off Wanderglyph plus torch, so that if the Wanderglyph lets me discard this and find my bounce spell to bounce the blocker on the ground, then we can find a kill even if they deal with Siren. So it's a slightly safer attack, since either way I'm incredibly dead on the crackback if this doesn't find lethal. So we might as well have that little backup plan. A really narrow, really unlikely backup plan, but a backup plan nonetheless. So incredible draws once again. Perfectly timed Zoetic Glyph leads us to 2-0 again in round 2. We are undefeated so far, winning both of our rounds, 4-0 in the games individually. Incredible stuff from this incredible deck. We'll see if we can't keep it up as we head into the final boss, round 3 of this traditional draft. Here we are for game 1 of the final round. We are going to be on the draw, and we've got a pretty fantastic hand. We know how we're trying to win this game with that Shamil at the top of the curve. And now I've got a really good 2-drop as well with a Malcolm here. I'm not going to Cogwork Wrestler turn 1. So I'm going to play the mountains so that Arena isn't snitching on me here. Poison Dart Frog. Well, that's a pretty good target for Cogwork Wrestler if that ever attacks, but probably won't. It might try to block our Malcolm, though, since it does have reach. Caparocti Sunborn. Turn 3. If they attack in with that, tap 2 of their permanents, that's going to be real gross. Let's drop the Malcolm, but hold up the Lodestone Needle next turn, so if we see them play another permanent to activate this thing, then we stun it before they go to combat. So let's do double blue in one so I can play Wrestler and Needle. For if they attack with Poison Dart Frog after I stun the Sunborn. Draw and discard. Find an Oaken Siren. Pretty happy with that. It's also another mana towards Chameel. I think I discard Wanderglyph because I'm going Needle Wrestler right now. And then I'm going to go Oaken Siren next turn. I guess I could Oaken Siren plus Wanderglyph next turn, but I think it's a little greedy to discard mana this quickly when we have Chameel in hand. So I'm going to hold the 5 mana in hand. I'll discard a 6th land if we ever find it, because Oaken Siren is the 6th mana for Chameel. Scythe Claw Raptor. So we stun Sunborn before this resolves, so they can't attack in and tap both those to discover. Alright. Deathcap Marionette. Alright, so no attack there with the Dart Frog. But that means I don't have to shoot myself in the face for 4 by casting the Wrestler. So that's fine. Sunfire Torch. I can torch the Death Toucher or the Frog. I mean, they're a 4-color. That's a white spell in their grave there. They've got green, red, black sources. They've cast a white spell already. They're full on 4-color. So killing the Dart Frog with the torch seems like a very reasonable use of my turn. So I'll do that for sure, but I should hold the rest of my mana up if I draw into something else to play off of Malcolm. Another land, we do ditch the 6th mana here. And then play the Siren. Now I can cast Chameel next turn. Alright, Final Strike to kill Malcolm, fair enough. We take 6, then we cast Chameel, hope that takes over the game for us. Yep, here we go. What do we got? I should have hit for 1. That was wrong. I will play a 3-2, even if it's not going to counter anything here. So it can trade into the Scytheclaw Raptor. Or trade into a removal spell from their hand. Either's pretty solid. Okay, trading into Marionette is not... Panicked Altasaur, 4-5 reach. Yikes. Okay, a Kalpa is exciting. Okay, I can cast a Kalpa and flip the Lodestone Needle to trigger a Kalpa. Sure. Should not try to attack in this turn now that they have a reach creature. That is gigantic. Zoetic Glyph to hand seems beautiful. Lift up a Siren, and now I can actually attack into the Altasaur when I have Cogwork Wrestler in hand, too. We're just going to Value Town here, but our opponent could be as well. That Sunborn can do stuff. And Earthshaker Dreadmaw does, too. That's a draw 2. And a 6-6, so it's a 3 for 1. Send in the Sunborn. They're tapped out. We kill the Sunborn here for sure. Take 5. That's rough. It's a good chunk of damage. Definitely got the tools to stop a lot of damage next turn, but we do take a pretty hefty hit this turn to get there. Oh, really? Unless they discover Deep Cavern Bat to get rid of the Abrade. Literally, like, right as I was saying, we've got the defensive tools to try to stabilize. They're like, nope. I'm gonna do my own thing. Alright, let's double block the Sunborn. Down to 8. More Cogwork Wrestlers. I mean, they know about the Cogwork Wrestlers, so this Deep Cavern Bat is never gonna block. So we just glyph up the Siren pre-combat anyway. Or I could glyph up the Iceberg to have more blockers total. I like being able to play the offensive and defensive at the same time. Losing that Abrade is so devastating, because the Abrade to kill the Raptor so I can actually cast Cogwork Wrestlers during their turn was a huge deal. Oh boy. Maybe I just play a 6/6 now? And hope Chameel hits well? Because we play a 6/6, we draw a card, we've got Chameel going. I don't need a bigger flying blocker. Yeah. This is probably fine. And I've got Cogwork Wrestlers if it's worth the 4 life. Oh, what a hit. Alright. Waylaying Pirates to stun the Giant Trampler feels correct. Maybe even stunning the Altasar so it doesn't ping me for 2. Screaming Phantom, 2/2 flyer. Mills whenever it attacks, and there's a Poison Dart Frog. Alright, so Iceberg Titan's also basically Vigilance. I can start loading up counters onto the Oaken Siren with the Zoetic Glyph on it as well, and I can have Cogwork Wrestlers up. Yeah, and it's going to be plenty of blockers. Plenty blockers. And I've still got double blue up for double Wrestler because I can tap the Siren. So we can shut off Death Touchers, we can mitigate reach creatures. Alright, well, I mean, they know about this, but it's happening. Okay, it just happens. They do have to get rid of the Cogwork Wrestler at some point, so that could just be them wanting to get rid of that. Okay. Grab another Waylaying Pirates. Discover a minecart, which is fine. Actually, not bad at all with Captain Storm. We might just be trying to make this Oaken Siren just a big enough trampler with a Tali's Favor to kill my opponent. We just Pirates plus a Tali's Favor and kill them. They've got 1 card in their hand. Yeah, they're going to have 2 flying toughness. Well, no, they've got Altasar, so I have to stun the Altasar, then they have 4 toughness of flyers, and 1 of it gains life. I am not in love with that. So I want to keep the minecart because it'll buff the Oaken Siren. Okay. I'm fairly certain we're trying to get lethal next turn, so Oaken Siren's going to be an 8 power trampler, 9 power trampler, 10 power trampler. 10's not enough. So I guess we're not getting lethal next turn. So we just put Natali's Favor on it and kill them in 2 turns then. can't afford to cast anything or Altasaur insta-kills me. We have to block with Iceberg Titan. Kinda think I have to. Maybe it was better to go Minecart plus Waylaying Pirates here. Now, I don't really need more cards at this point. I just need more time. So maybe it's like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not even 6 power, though. I need 1 more power on that. Shoot. Yeah, I probably should have crewed Minecart. Because Iceberg Titan whittles away their board, too. Well, incorrect decisions were made, but this is where we're at. It's Iceberg Titan. I think it should have been Waylaying Pirates Minecart. I was just too excited about the opportunity to get more counters on the Oaken Siren and try to get trample lethal in like 1 swing, but that's just not going to happen. It's going to be multiple hits. So we're 100% putting trample on the Oaken Siren immediately. Find a brackish blunder. Hold the phone here. If I blunder the bat, that gives me a braid and I can abrade the phantom. No, we just bounce the Altasaur to slow them down from killing us. Ooh, and if they do it tapped, we get a counter on the Siren, which is beautiful. Okay, counter on the Siren. Boop. Maybe we do find lethal. I'll have 1 treasure token to play the Cogwork Wrestler. Actually, I can play it off of Siren even, so we play the Pirates. Stun the biggest flying blocker, which is Screaming Phantom. We're going to Cogwork Wrestler the Poison Dart Frog. We could kill them here. I think I actually do that to go wide. So one of the 3/3s connects for 3. I think this is like dead on board, is it not? Just because trample goes hard here. I guess it's not dead on board if they block all 3 of the 3/3s, but then I just play Cogwork Wrestler and make the unblocked creature a 10/10. Not a 10/10, but make it 10 power. Yeah, so Wrestler shuts off the lifelink so that they don't gain any life here. And it puts a counter on Oaken Siren, so we hit for exact lethal. Oh boy, alright. That was way harder than it should have been, honestly. Looking back on that, that was an incredibly impressive game from our opponent. Because for the majority of that game, we had a Kalpakal Chameel going. We had insane amounts of card advantage, drawing like 3 cards a turn instead of 1 per turn, and 2 of them were guaranteed spells because Chameel always discovers and a Kalpakal gives us the best card. We were down to 9 cards left. We had so much card advantage, and still we're just like close to losing to Beef. So a really which is really well played, well built, like 4-color dinos deck going on here from our opponent, which is not something I think I'd ever say. But they did incredibly, incredibly well against our explosive stuff there, our insane amounts of card advantage. So huge props to opponent there, and I live in fear, because that was, I mean, look at all the rares. We played like our whole deck, and still we're pretty close to dying to them just tapping for 2 a turn with that Altasaur, so scary stuff, but again, I think I like just the speed of the deck, the curve we have going for us. I think that's our best way to try to break through and lethal our opponent before they start doing all that crazy stuff. I don't think we want to try to slow things down with Out of Airs and Council of Echoes and all this stuff. I think they're just too inefficient, and every single game, like the true best of one player that I am, I'm just going to run it back, no sideboarding required. Well, we are going to keep this. It's a little high on mana, but we've got a great excuse to get the Hidden Cataract down turn 1. And then we've got a Glyph on a Wanderglyph, which is incredibly flavorful, so it's just like necessary, right? I think I'm going to Holly's favor before I Zoetic Glyph, because I'd really like to try to get an extra creature off the Zoetic Glyph. Maybe it's best if they start pretty slow here to just pile on damage as quickly as possible. Armored Kincaller. So if I do a Tali's Favor Wanderglyph, I don't get to attack this turn. If I Zoetic Glyph it, I do. They are going to play a Scytheclaw Raptor, so it'll trade into that next turn, but then if I had Tali's Favorite next turn, they 2-for-1 themselves to kill it, and I could Brackish Blunder to completely ruin the block. So because we have the Brackish Blunder follow-up to this, just glyphing up the Wanderglyph does seem very powerful. Because things are going to go horrifically wrong for them if they go for the double block after I Atali's Favor. Although I'd need 1 more mana, I guess, to do both those things. Shoot. Well, they don't have the red source, actually, for the Scytheclaw Raptor, so hold the phone. I'm super wrong. They're not even going to play the 4-3 yet anyway. So, if they want to chump with a 1-1, they don't have the mana to give it Death Touch yet anyway, so I don't think they're blocking, so I just hit for 5. We play Captain Storm and Malcolm, I believe. Yeah. Ditch the land, because I can double spell really well already. So here's Captain Storm. We can flash in a Malcolm. Or a Brackish Blunder if we need to. But now I'm going to have the 5 mana to actually go with Tali's Favor and then Blunder when they double block. And that could be completely game ending. If we can get that. The Skullspore Nexus. Whenever their creatures die, they get a creature with power toughness equal to its power. And then they can double a creature's power till end of turn every turn. It's pretty cool. Our opponent's deck is objectively very cool. Favor up the Wanderglyph to trample over for big damage. Hit an Oaken Siren to buff the Captain Storm. They don't even need to buff the Captain Storm, so we buff the Flyer to hit even harder. The reason we don't need to buff Captain Storm is because we have Cogwork Wrestlers, so we ditch the Blunder instead. Hit a Wanderglyph. Probably should have just kept and just didn't discard to the Wanderglyph. Alright, Cogwork Wrestler completely ruins our opponent's day, as it tends to do. We now kill the Kincaller without losing a creature. And they're down to 4. We draw and discard another card. Find a Waylaying Pirates, which is incredible when they're so low on life, stunning their best blocker, helping us find more damage. There's a Panicked Altosaur for a big reach creature. We stun the reach blocker, and they're super dead in the sky. They're already dead on board, but we might as well make sure, just in case I'm horrifically bad at math, that we still find lethal. And there you go. Monumentally good run. Just literally everything going our way. Very happy with the navigation of that draft in general. I think there were just enough powerful colorless spells, not enough reasons to really want to tie ourselves deeply to a certain color in pack 1, but I think it was right to stay relatively open there, and we got rewarded so much with the move to blue in pack 2 with just one of the craziest blue-red decks that we've drafted in the format. It's one of the strongest archetypes in the format when it's open and you can get all the cards, and it really was here. We got several fantastic rares that were absolute haymakers that can win a game by themselves, but the majority of the games we had today, not only did the draft go really well for us, the gameplay went really well for us, and the draws went incredibly well, and we were getting multiple rares every game to jam them out together, and in cohesive synergy, they just completely exploded all of our opponents' faces. So again, huge props to our opponents there. I think every opponent we had a pretty great deck, played pretty well. We just had an insane deck and insane draws throughout today's draft. So again, I'm really happy with how I drafted. I think that was an incredibly well navigated draft, and we were paid off for our decisions super well. So there's definitely luck in the draft as well, for sure. But I am happy with the color pair we ended up in. Being in this open color pair, we also got super lucky in that great on-color rares were getting opened, and because we were in the open colors, they were also getting passed to us, which was spectacular. I mean, this Captain Storm was super late. A Kalpakal was much later than he should be. And just an incredible draft in general. Again, I don't think I did anything super novel or super great in the gameplay, but I think we drafted that one out real well and got pretty lucky to get a nice, clean 6-0, 3-0, undefeated traditional draft run for maximum prize out, 2,500 gems, 2 play-in points, and 6 packs of the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. But that's going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video and you're interested in seeing some more like it, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.